What's up? What's happening? Welcome to Violet Eyes Astrology. My name is Metaphor. Today we're going to be looking at the full moon in Aries happening today, as you can see here on the screen with my cursor. It's happening the moon energies start affecting us 3 days before and they continue to affect us 3 days after. So you would have already felt this starting Friday. And then not only that, but this full moon in Aries is also something that has been building up since Pisces season earlier this year, 2025, which would have been in March, with the new moon in Aries. So it hits its peak today, Monday, October 6th at 10:46 Central Standard Time. That's where I'm at. And so I just according to your area. So this full moon in Aries is basically giving you your harvest. It's excuse me. Anything that you started back in March, whether it was intentionally or unintentionally, or anything that in March was at its peak. Like, let's say you had some type of health issue, and during the by the time of the new moon in Aries, you decided, wow, like this is the worst. If you hit rock bottom around then, this would be a good moon to take a look at how far you've come. Even if you're not where you want to be, it's still a good like it's like a mile marker, and it's good to help you keep motivated and to keep going in that direction. So I am gonna do sign by sign horoscopes at the end. I just want to take a look at the collective energy for now. But yeah, so let's see. The moon, both the moon and the sun, from what I can see here, they're not making any major aspects to any other planets other than themselves. So for anybody new here, anybody new to astrology, so the moon represents our feelings, the way we think, the way we process our feelings. So you can take a look at your zodiac archetype of where your moon falls in your birth chart and get an idea of how you process emotions, how your inner world works. That's the moon because it's out at night. And the sun represents your identity, your character, your ego. And so it's good to see the sun for what we want right now. So they're opposing each other right now, right? So the ego, the sun, is illuminating everything that the moon desires. So this would be a good time to come face to face, so to speak, with what you're desiring, where you're at so far, and what you have to do to keep to either to keep steering in the direction of where you want to get to. And right now, with the sun in Libra, it is in its fall position, meaning that it's not as strong and potent as it is. So right here on the wheel, if you follow my cursor, so basically Libra, if we're thinking of the astrological calendar, when Libra time comes, it's the harvest, right? It's when we get to enjoy the harvest, and it's kind of like the downside of the calendar. It's like we're shutting down, things are dying, it's the fall. And so this sun, I've noticed usually people with the birth charts that I've done, usually people with sun in Libra have had some type of issue with their father figure in their life. Whether their dad was around but was maybe sick, wasn't around, or wasn't like that sun, that bright shining sun of what one would think would be the ideal father figure. So that's kind of where we're at right now, also with our ego, with our impetus, with our wanting to go 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 go. And I really think it's important to get in tune with the astrological calendar because and I include myself in this, we're constantly demanding so much of ourselves and demanding that consistency, which I think is good. It's something good to live up to. I do want to apologize for having this video come out on the day of the moon. By the time it's uploaded, it's probably going to be nighttime. So, but I really felt like I was being grabbed by the energies, especially this weekend. This weekend was such beautiful astrology. It was peaceful. It was about harmony, getting together with friends, and usually the most happiest peaceful astrology is the toughest to get any work done. So, if we think like that in terms of the sun being at its fall right now, you could say, okay, maybe like, yeah, I'm gonna shoot for excellence. I'm gonna expect consistency of myself in what I want, what I desire, but I'm not gonna beat myself up, so to speak, because the sun is at fall. Because right now, things are dying, things are ending. Right now, it's a time to take stock in what we have done, what we did do so far. So, with this full moon in Aries, I also look at it as kind of like, where where have you come to since March this year, since Pisces season, so like mid February, March. Where have how have you evolved regarding your feelings, your emotions? How have you evolved, or how have you chosen to stay the same? Because Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. So we are going to be, this is, I think this full moon is also an invitation to switch gears, an invitation to say, here's the results. Do you like them? Do you not? What do we need to keep doing? What do we need to tweak? And the moon is going to be approaching Chiron. So Chiron here that I'm circling, this is a asteroid speaking on the Greek mythology of Chiron himself, which I'm not going to go into that right now, but basically it means wounds, feelings of rejection, and it also shows you where all the bad things that happened to you have become your strength. Um, how is it that in you trying to figure out how to heal yourself, you have found some type of medicine, some type of elixir solution to this problem? And to the point where now you're able to speak onto others who are going through that, on how to overcome that difficulty. That's what I'm seeing here. Uh, let's see. Let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at the aspects that it is making. So, let's move this over here. All right. So the moon is trining asteroid Vesta. So I've been talking about this in the daily horoscope. I've been talking about like a dedication and a devotion to your spiritual practice and to your work, to, and then Vesta being in Sagittarius, it really mostly would be about your spiritual practice. However, it can also talk about how you are in, how are you integrating ideas that are foreign to you, right, Sagittarius, that are foreign to you into your daily life, into your daily practice, your daily routine, your daily work, and how to also recognize that we need help, we need each other. There's been a lot of, right now with the sun in Libra, it's all about relationships, not just romantic relationships, but just all relationships, and how we, I mean, Venus represents love, in love and money in astrology. So this sun in Libra, the house of Venus, is being disposited by Venus, is talking about the plain truth that it is transactional, that love, that relationships are transactional. And yes, unconditional love is real, unconditional friendships. However, it's once you start relating to somebody else, you you just can't help but to reach certain moments where you're gonna need each other, where that's just, whether it's a simple I need you to listen to me, I need a conversation, or something bigger like I need a loan, I need to borrow so much money. It's just, I feel like the more we unite money and love, the more we can reach a better place of integrity regarding unconditional giving and taking. But first, we have to come back and see that money and love are intertwined. They are always they're always present with each other. And right now, it is, with Mars being in Scorpio, it is a time to be kind of waiting, right? Mars is ruling this moon. Um, Mars is ruled by both Aries and Scorpio. So Aries is the yang force, the masculine force, and Scorpio is the yin force. So with Mars being in the yin, in the feminine energy, right now our actions are talking waiting and magnetizing what we want. And since this Mars is dispositing this full moon in Aries, I feel like it really is a time to take stock. Okay, what can I do? How can I, where am I at in my goals? And where can I maybe take a pause and look at how I'm working, look at how I'm living, right? And make changes so that I can get there faster when the energy itself starts picking up, which really is going to be until Aries season. But it doesn't mean that there can't be things that are able to get done between now and then. It's just that we are we are influenced by the energies. That's really the main reason why I look at astrology. That's the main reason why I like doing the horoscopes, because it's checking the temperature of the energy. Like, why am I so tired? Oh, Venus is actually in a good position right now. Okay. And it doesn't mean that I'm going to give into that. It just, because I'm still holding certain level of expectation out of myself to do things. So when I check the weather, the daily horoscope, it helps me to understand why I'm having a harder time than usual. But it doesn't make it so that I can excuse myself out of doing it entirely. I'm just gonna have more grace with myself. And that's really what my intention is with the daily horoscopes. So going back to this Mars in so it's a very Martian moon. It's a moon where the energy that I feel, it's like we're fighting ourselves inside. It's like the sun in Libra, and then this action packed um this action packed moon. It's like we're wanting, like, I want to do it, I want to get it done, I need to do it. And so there can be a lot of feelings of frustration out of not being able to get things done. And then with Mars in Scorpio, what does Scorpio represent? It represents other people's money, it represents death, it represents betrayal. And those are the shadow qualities, right? So let's say that you're stuck right now, right? Because that's what I've been seeing in the astrology. I've been seeing that a lot of us have been facing a lot of obstacles, a lot of challenges. So Mars being there, you gotta watch out for wanting to get ahead so badly that you could do something like betray, right? Like betray who? I don't know. Betray yourself, betray someone, steal something in order to get there faster. And those are the real temptations going on right now with Mars in Scorpio. There's also like a tendency to get overly frustrated because you're not where you want to be. Like there could be an over frustration and depression where it's the full moon. You know, the moon is saying, "Here you go. This is where you how far you've come. This is where you're at." So with and then Mars in Scorpio, you could be extremely depressed about the results. So you got to watch out for that too. Like you got to keep fighting till the end. This is a milestone. This is a time where you're looking at what's coming, but it's not the end of the race. What is the end of the race? I suppose it would be till the next new moon in Aries, where you get to work in that area of your chart. So where is Aries landing in your chart? And then on a positive note, well, what does Mars in Scorpio represent? Mars in Scorpio, Scorpio positive things would be transformation, the rising phoenix, the not just transformation, but I want to remind everybody that you can change right now. That metamorphosis. You don't have to wait till New Year's. You don't have to wait till, it can be right now, like right now. And that is the magic of Scorpio. It just makes me think of like beetles and like the actual bug and death, and you could kill. And then with even the moon in Aries is dispositing this sun. Like this is a moon flavored season, a moon flavored day. It's a really difficult situation that you're dealing with. For anybody that's going through it's like, yeah, I like if you need the stars to validate you and how you feel, like, yeah, I see it right here. There's a lot of frustration. There's a lot of sadness. There's a lot of like fear too, and feeling outcasted with Lilith here conjunct Mars. It's outcast energy. It's like, fuck, I'm not where I'm at. I feel like shit, and it is gonna pass, but it's just, this is the time to face the mirror and to kill your ego, kill the version of you that gave you these shitty results. Like this it can die with all of these negative feelings. So let's go ahead and do the sign by sign. 1738. Gotta get my notebook. Okay. And you guys can speed up the video. Like if you hold your finger on the right side of the screen, it'll like make it fast forward while I get this set up. Okay, so here we go. Aries. This full moon is in your first house of self, identity, your health, your health regarding your physical appearance. So more of a physical, outer aesthetics type of health, and especially regarding your face, your hair, anything of the head. So on a positive note, it could be like, here you are, here's the results for your hard work. And for others, like mainly for other Arieses, this is gonna be a reset. Like you're really gonna feel this Scorpio season at your core, and you can use it to like die off that older version of yourself, is what I'm seeing here. Because right now, with Neptune just moved into your sign, I feel like there's kind of a confusion about who you are now, who you want to be. It's almost like a lot of you probably didn't even realize that you could change, that you that you don't have to be the same person your entire life, and that things don't have to be done in a certain purest way forever. So that's very liberating. And there's also, it's also talking about healing things regarding people who didn't, with the moon about to conjoin Chiron. It's like just how you're just realizing all the times that other people controlled who you could be, what you could express. And a lot of the times that control is very covert. So, for example, maybe they don't tell you, hey, don't do that, like that bluntly, but it's like a reaction. Could be a reaction, especially from your partner, since we're right across the seventh house of business partnerships and marriage. So it could have been that maybe a lot of times you were in a relationship where you did something and your partner didn't say anything, but maybe it's that look they gave you, that look of disgust or disapproval, and it could have had you shape your identity and your personality into something that would cause a better reaction out of them. And you're like now, like you're it's like you're realizing all those times and all those moments, and maybe right now you are in a healthy relationship where you can be yourself, where you're also stronger in yourself, because it's also unrealistic to expect our partner to always approve of everything that we like, everything that we do, approve of all our fashion choices. So you, Aries, for you it's also like you've gotten stronger in yourself. Like, okay, that person, my partner made an icky face at my outfit. Okay, like you know what I mean? You've gained strength. You don't let other people's reactions in infect your brain so much to the point where you're changing yourself to please them. So you've gotten stronger in that sense too, where you're not just picking a fight because your partner didn't agree with something that you like. So you also got to take a look at yourself, Aries, at where your expectations of acceptance are disproportionate, you know. All right, moving on to Taurus, Taurus rising. So this full moon is taking place in your 12th house, so that's pretty tough. The 12th house represents, it's the house of, it's Piscean energy. So insane asylums, hospitals, prisons, monasteries, anything where somebody is isolated. It also represents like the transition, right? The ultimate transcendence from flesh to from flesh to another realm. So with the moon transiting there and Neptune just entering there, a lot of you Tauruses could, you're going into a place where you seem to prefer being alone. You're finding a lot of like hidden gems being alone, unexpectedly and surprisingly. It's almost like you're surprising. It's like right when you thought that you had life figured out, surprise. Like, and it's scary, but it's also very exciting because I sense that a lot of you haven't felt this way, so wondrous about the world and magic and 12th house, magic, occult stuff, spiritually occult themes mostly. It's like there are still things in this world to discover, and that is something positive. On the negative side, the shadow, the moon transiting there and a full moon there, it's also like a sense of I'm trapped, and your own mind could be your own worst enemy right now. For some people, if you're suffering from mental illnesses, I could see this being a really difficult time for you. So take it easy on yourself. try to ground yourself, and I would make more appointments with a therapist if you're already seeing one. There's also a sort of coming home to your otherworldliness. There's a there's almost like you're wondering, when is this gonna be over, with Neptune having moved in there. A lot of you might be in isolation not by choice. So there's like a split in the collective, right? There's the people that are there by choice. Maybe they're isolating themselves within their home because they've got work. Maybe like this could be playing out as somebody that works third shift at a hospital, and you find yourself in isolation due to your schedule. But if you love your job, it can keep you going and keep you feeling good. And then with the sun being in the sixth house, I mean, it could be affecting your health. Living on a third schedule could be affecting that. That could be your difficulty. But let's say it's somebody who is in isolation that they did not choose to be in. So the sun in Libra could be wanting to explore, right? The sixth house is communication. The sixth house is the places we visit every day. It's like that part of your routine. So where's Mercury at? Mercury being in Scorpio. So it's almost like a desire to speak to your seventh house, your significant other. But there's also a feeling of being outcasted with your significant other. So for some of you who are single, you just might feel like this isolation has transformed you so much to the point where you don't think you could relate to anyone ever again. And for those of you in relationship, you could feel like this, like that. Let's use that example of somebody working at the hospital third shift, right? They could feel like they've grown apart from their partner because of their sleeping schedules and things like that. So that is just something that's going on right now that isn't necessarily gonna keep happening. When would that be over? I would say that would probably be over when Mars moves out of your seventh house. So Mars does represent the cutting of ties. And I mean, right now you know, you could be facing a divorce. You could be facing a separation. It would be over by the time Mars goes into Sagittarius. So people, you know, we can make this into a literal divorce, separation, or you could choose to come to terms with your partner and say, let's transform how we do it. Like, it's a clean slate. So that's, I think Tauruses are having it really tough. So I wish you luck with that. And it's just passing. Like, these are just energies. Things are passing. They're gonna be passing. We're just going through the circular cycles of time and energy. So for Gemini rising, this full moon is happening in your 11th house, right across from the 5th house of love. So it's happening in the 11th house of friendships, dreams, allies. And Neptune just entered there. So Geminis could have been making new friends during Pisces season earlier this year in March. And right now you're seeing, like, this is it. You know, these are your new friends. And it could have been with Neptune here, different types of friends, more artistic friends, mystical friends, musician friends. On a shadow side, it could also be drug addict friends, alcoholic friends, things like that. But with moon approaching Chiron, it seems like you, despite having these new friends, which seem really cool and really different, like, they don't necessarily live by the rules that society puts onto us. And yet, Gemini, you still feel out, like, you still feel outcasted. You still feel like you don't truly belong. Like, Geminis could be feeling like they don't even belong. They're outcasted from the group of outcasts, is basically what I'm seeing. And it could be due to a health issue. It could be due to something related to this sixth house, where it could be maybe you're not able to get to your friends in person. Maybe you're just seeing them online. It could also be that you have your own projects to do, your work, you're being consumed by work, or that you're in a relationship which is taking up most of your time, Gemini. So that's that full moon for you. And it's also saying, everything that you wanted. I would meditate for Gemini. I would meditate on what started earlier this year during the new moon in Aries, and how has that come to fruition. And that's something to celebrate right there. Moving on to Cancer. Cancer rising, we have this full moon in Aries is happening in your 10th house of career, also in the public, how the public views you, Cancer. So I would say what happened starting in March during Pisces season, during that new moon in Aries, what happened that has gotten you to, or excuse me, that would have been the new moon in Libra season. But yes, let's see. Oh my gosh. Anyways, okay, Cancer. So something regarding your career, where maybe you're looking or waiting on a promotion, looking or waiting on a callback. You could have gotten that callback, and with this sense of frustration that I've been seeing, they could be that maybe you didn't get the position that you wanted, maybe you didn't get the salary or the hours, the shift that you wanted. However, there's still time to transform that with all this Scorpion energy, like to get creative here. So for a lot of Cancers, I would wonder if a lot of you got a job regarding the creative arts or with children, like a daycare or school, something like that. And just having patience in how you're gonna balance your work life with your home life from now on, especially regarding money and the money that other people, like Venus being in the third house of Virgo. It's almost like perhaps you're having to invest a lot into this job in order to get started. Could be that a lot of you are starting your own business and having to invest, or if you are working for an employer, it could be that you're having to buy a lot of like uniform or tools for this job. It could also mean that siblings or close family could be needing your help, your financial assistance. So you're feeling a little bit, it could be that stress or that frustration from balancing your work, and how to be able to still maintain respect and love from those you love, when you might not be able to give them everything that they want, whether that's time, love, money. So that's for Cancer. And for Leo rising, this full moon in Aries, Leo, is happening in your 9th house of foreign affairs, higher education, as well as spirituality, gurus. So for you, this is all about your strange spirituality, your strange beliefs, like your strange methods, the madness to the chaos, and how that might be affecting. So with all this madness to the chaos in the 9th house, how is that affecting what you want or how you think in your daily? So perhaps a lot of you have gone into like endless rabbit holes of new philosophies, foreign ways of thinking, adopting new religion. And how do you I can feel like the frustration could be, okay, that's great. How do I make this work for me? How can I apply all these grandiose philosophies and schools of thought into something that's going to be helpful for me? So a lot of you could have probably been taking courses regarding your speech, like speeching, public speaking, or pecha kucha, things like that. This could also be regarding your siblings, so or people that are like your siblings, with the sun in Libra in the third house. So I could see how some of you could be like, I'm picking up on a hypothetical scenario, somebody who has roommates. How are your roommates influencing your new ways of thinking, your values, with Venus in the 12th house, right? Uh, how are they influencing these values? This Venus is dispositing that sun. So how are you also maybe feeling a little bit of an outcasted within your own home, within your own family? Like maybe these new beliefs, Leo, these new things are making you break away from your family. We have Pluto and Aquarius here. It's just there's a lot of breaking of ties. Like all your relationships are truly changing a lot. Um a lot of relationships are going to come to an end. It doesn't have to be a grand spectacular goodbye. And you don't necessarily have to say goodbye. It's okay if you slowly just stop texting, and who knows, maybe in a few years you'll talk to that person again. So for Leos, I would advise, like, don't feel so bad about that, about putting your thoughts out there, about living how you want to live, even if it does mean the Mars and Scorpio cutting away from family traditions, cutting away from how you think things should be, and just standing your ground in a graceful, respectful manner with your family. I mostly see it as, for those of you that do have family, it's like you and your family, you and your kids, trying to do things differently than your family of origin. So that's for Leo rising. For Virgo ascendant, we have this full moon is happening in your 8th house of taxes, other people's money, death, the occult. And it's opposing, this moon is going to be opposing the sun in your 2nd house of finances, value, self-worth. So here we have, some of you could literally be experiencing the death of a family member, female family member it could be. So some of you could have received an inheritance. And it could also be an inheritance while they're alive, like just given to you because you are you. So it's also like I'm seeing a lot of you with Venus in the 1st house are receiving some kind of unspoken recognition by the matriarchs in your family. This full moon in your 8th house could be, if you're married, it could be showing, here you go, this is it. Like it could just, it's the culmination of how your partner and their finances do support you, do add value to you. And it's a good time to appreciate that. With Jupiter, I'm gonna wait for that motorcycle. With Jupiter in Cancer, Jupiter representing husband, it's as an ally in the 11th house. It just goes to show, like, this would be a good time to show and express your gratitude and appreciation to people. You're gonna be getting a lot of lucky breaks. You're gonna be like, it's also like receiving that good karma. Like I noticed one of my Virgo friends posted the other day, yet today, that over the weekend somebody paid for for her sandwich at the shop. So yeah, that's other people's money. That's Virgo. That's the eighth house. Like, it's just, and it could be a stranger, just random acts of kindness where other people's money, like maybe you receive an approval on that loan, you receive back lost money. By the way, there's like a state website in every state where you can like go check on that government website where what money has been stuck and in overpays, and you can get that back. So you could see Virgo's looking into that type of thing right now. Um, so that's adding value to you. Excuse me. And the betrayal and all that stuff that I was talking about in the collective horoscope for you, Virgo rising, that could be happening within in your third house of siblings, friends that are like siblings. So just with everything in the eclipse energy happening, there could be a lot of cutting away, cutting ties with people that were very, very close to you, in order to reach your highest good. And also, just be aware not to do anything slimy yourself or sneaky, because we are in a waiting period. So just don't betray those close to you too. That's also a warning, because that temptation to do so in order to get these funds that you need is there. Okay, so moving on to Libra rising. This full moon is happening in your seventh house of business partnerships, one-on-one relations, as well as marriage, committed relationships. So this is showing you like where you're at now. Where were you 6 months ago during the new moon in Aries to now? And with Neptune just entered your seventh house, it can be like, let's see, the shadow qualities would be that you're finding out your committed partnership is like has a bigger drinking problem than they led on to, right? With Neptune representing drugs, alcohol, things like that. Or on a positive note, it could mean you find out that your partner is way more spiritual than you thought. Like maybe they have a daily practice, a daily sadhana, something like that. So there's just like seems to be surprises, or the light is shining to where your things about this partner. And it could also be a long-term partner that maybe they just recently started getting into the occult, and you could be this partner too, because sometimes the first and the seventh house, they kind of play off of each other. So sometimes things that are happening in the seventh house could also be things that are happening with us, right? With the first house representing the self. And if you're single, it could just mean like, what have all my relationships taught me? What good things have they done for me? With Neptune also representing charity, and savior, right? Like the savior. It would be a good time to, if you want to shift out of victim mentality, you could take a look at how all your relationships have benefited you. And it can be a tough look in the mirror and say, okay, well, this is where I messed up and this is where they helped me. And we're just gonna, I took, some of them took more, sometimes I took more, and where you can just leave it as it is and move on. So that's a positive note. And with you, there could also be a big change of work. So with Mars in your second house of money, I could see that there's there's possibly more incoming money for some of you in relationship. There could be more money coming in from your partner from the seventh house. There could be like your partner starts making more money and gives you more, or it could also mean that you change jobs. It could mean that you've changed what you do for a living, where you're cutting away from that money source, right? With Mars representing cutting, where you're cutting away from seventh house one-on-one business relations. Like maybe you don't work with your business associate anymore. Maybe you're going off on your own, or you're switching industries, or what have you, right? And for you, there's just a lot of having to put yourself and the other person on the scale. How much are you giving versus the other person? So you could apply this to your marriage, and you can also apply this to your work, where some of you might feel like especially if you're running your own business, like how much of you are you giving and how much are you racking in or taking in return, and why is it that way, and how do you feel about that, and how does that work or not work for you? So this full moon would be a tweaking in that, where Venus in the 12th house, where maybe you're investing too much and your return of investment is what serves as a catalyst for you to tweak your income. Moving on to Scorpio rising. This full moon is happening in your 6th house of health, right across the 12th house where the sun is right now in Libra. So it's really plain and simple. It's kind of harsh, but I feel like you guys can handle it, being Scorpio rising. So basically, where have you, 12th house representing also self-undoing, where have you been self-undoing, and how has that affected your health? So could be Venusian things. Let's go look at what Venus is doing. Things of pleasure, things of money that we give to others, things of how we let others, the 11th house of friends, influence what we do. So what happened for you 6 months ago during the new moon in Aries to now? Like, where are you at now? And how is this affecting your identity, with Mars being in the 1st house and Lilith there with representing outcasted energy? How is your health, or the daily places, people that work for you, your pets, 6th house, how are these daily places affecting your personality in a way that you don't necessarily like it, for the shadow aspects? And how has your pleasure, Rahu here being in the 5th house, steered the wheel blindly, right? Because Rahu has no head, this right here. And speaking of head, that's also what Aries represents. And then with Mars being there, it's almost like I just got an image of somebody who feels like they decapitated themselves, and it's like you're holding your own head in your hand, being really harsh to yourself about why you've let things get the way they are. And that really hurts me. It hurts my heart. It sounds very scorpionic though, and I, being a Scorpio myself, I do tend to do those type of things. So let's look at some hope here for the full moon. So I guess the hope could be in Jupiter. How can your beliefs regarding your feelings, right, with with Moon dispositing this Jupiter, but Mars dispositing the Moon, it's almost like, how can you cut away from you? How can you? It's like, I'm my own worst enemy. That if I could title this Moon for Scorpio risings, it's just, I'm my own worst enemy. So how can you become your best friend? You could dedicate Vesta here, dedicate yourself to reminding yourself of your value. With Juno there, if you have a partner, I would, not in a healthy non-code, I'm not promoting codependency, but we all need help and we all need support. So how can you look to your partner for that support, for that daily reminder that there are also good things that you do for yourself? So this would be a good time for you to go back to the gym, or rework your gym routine, tweak your gym routine. It could also be a time where you seek friends, Venus and the 11th, to help you with any financial difficulty, or like, how can you be of service to add value to yourself too without being too manipulative about it. And there's just a lot of transformation going on in your, how you think of yourself. Mercury dispositing that Pluto in the 8th house. It's just, how do you view yourself in your mind, even if it's, hopefully it's more positive than negative. But there's just hope in your health. It could also be that the places you're frequenting is what's adding to the decline of you. So switching up your routine would be helpful. Taking a different place, like, what is it? There's that quote in Ren Butler's book of Archetypal Universe where he says, "Lead me not into temptation. I can get there myself." Right? So that's some food for thought for Scorpio. And moving forward to Sagittarius. This full moon is happening in your 5th house of children, creativity, friends, lovers. No, not friends, excuse me, lovers. So, and it is opposing the sun in your 11th house of friends, allies, hopes, and dreams. So, with Sagittarius rising, there could be a tension between what you want, your dreams, your desires, opposing what your partner wants, what your partner needs, what your children wants. So I'm getting the image of a mother, a new mother, who is trying her best to put work into herself while juggling all these domestic duties that take all of her time and energy. It just seems like it's never ending, the work. I do see a lot of you with Vesta here in the 1st house. You guys are putting a lot of work into your image, into what you want to display. And with Venus and Virgo, the world does see you as somebody beautiful, somebody like the Empress, somebody bountiful, abundant. And if you're a male, the world sees you as somebody who is very giving, very generous, almost reminding them with South Node there, reminding them of some type of ancient wisdom type royal energy. And for you're cutting away from being isolated. You're cutting away Mars in the 12th house. You're either going into these isolation periods on purpose to recharge and recalibrate, and you find yourself like not having as much time as you would like to there. um you might also be talking a lot about, with Mercury being there, about spirituality, about the benefits of alone time, which is, it's different. It's something different. It's definitely something new. I feel like you would probably vibe a lot right now with Taurus. I would say reach out to your Taurus friends because they're really going through it. They're having a hard time being in isolation, and I feel like Sagittarius has found the golden nuggets while being alone and want more of that. So for you, I would just watch you betraying yourself, like with Mars being there in the 12th house. I would just watch for that. Try to see how these limitations with your family life, how they're actually helping you. Saturn in the 4th house, like how could these limitations be helping pace yourself? Because let's say that you want to reach a certain level in your dreams and goals, and right now you're blaming your family, your kids, your lover, because they're not letting you have the time you need to do it. But it's not them, it's Saturn here in the 4th house. It's almost like, well, even if you were successful, you wouldn't be able to handle all that demand for yourself. So it's going slowly. Your progress is going slowly on purpose to prepare you. It's like a training. It's like an intensive training to prepare you so that you can juggle all these things that you want eventually. So I would just, do little by little. And I believe doing something that you love and that makes you feel fulfilled makes you a better person to your family, makes you a better person to others. Just feeling fulfilled, feeling actualized, even if it's in micro doses, it helps everybody. So that's what I have for you. Moving on to Capricorn. Capricorn, this full moon is happening in your 4th house of family, mother, ancestors, lineage. So, and it's opposing the sun in the 10th house. So for you, Capricorn, this is a moon that is showing you the house you've built, the house that you have made for yourself. I think that's a lot to celebrate. You could feel that perhaps it's not what you wanted. A lot of you could literally be making a house at your work. So I'm picking up on like maybe single Capricorns. I could see how a lot of you feel like your work and your coworkers are involuntarily your family and home because you're spending so much time there. For others of you, I see a tension between how much time you spend at work versus home, how much your home needs you. So with Mars being in the 11th house of Scorpio, cutting away some hopes and dreams, perhaps not being able to put in all the hours that you wish to put into your career because home is demanding so much of you right now, the past 6 months. So I would say it's just cycles of time, right? There's a time and a season for everything. And this is why I'm doing this horoscope. It's to let you know that the past 6 months for you, Capricorn, have been about finding a balance between work and home, with home winning. With home having been where you were needed the most. So just here to reassure you that if things did fall apart a little bit at work, it's fine. So, it's fine. You can try again. So do celebrate how you being at home or dedicating more time to your home, to your family, has benefited you. Like, why don't you Celebrate those accolades, those milestones, right? Always expecting so much of yourself, Capricorn. And moving on to Aquarius, Aquarius rising. I gotta pick up my pen. So Aquarius, Aquarius rising. This full moon in Aries falls in your third house of the mind, siblings, extended family such as aunties, uncles, and also friendships that resemble brother, sisterly, sibling energy, and your neighborhood. Places right in your neighborhood. And it is opposing the sun in Libra in the ninth house. So this has to do a lot with where you're at now as far as thinking. How has your thinking and speaking, how have you been able to speak your mind? How have you evolved in how you express yourself? And how may these expressions healed others with Chiron here? Or how have they healed others and at the same time made other people feel rejected? So I feel like with Aquariuses, you've been dealing with a lot of authenticity. And when you are authentic, you have to choose sides. Being authentic means you're gonna speak on things that it's a left or right, and there are gonna be people that don't agree, but then there's gonna be a lot of new people that do agree. So with you, I see a lot of cutting away with Mars and Scorpio in the 10th house. There's just been a lot of cutting away from people who used to look to you publicly as a public figure, people, from certain work, certain employers. You could have cut yourself away, or they could have cut you off. Like, I'll give an example here. In sales, there's commissions, right? And there's this belief that, like, let's say a call center for a major telephone company, where the expectations are that after hanging up the phone, the goal during that phone call, even if it's a phone call for help me understand my bill or a minor technical problem, your goal, your expectation out of that major telephone company is to hang up the phone with that customer's bill being higher. So this is a hypothetical scenario, but I could see how a lot of you with sun in the ninth house believes, how your beliefs of no, that's not how it should be, cut you away from that job. How have your newfound beliefs cut you away from employers, from your own siblings, from how the public perceives you now? What do people think of you? But I feel a lot of you have let go of caring about how the people that don't agree view you, which in turn, it doesn't make you need or depend on the people that do agree with you for validation. It actually just, you're the only one that's validating yourself. You're the only one that is patting yourself on the back. And I feel like a lot of you have reached a breakthrough in that. Like, there's been a major transformation, and I see it confirmation here with Pluto having entered your first house. There's been a major transformation in you, Aquarius. It's just, I just see no more fear in expressing you, your likes, your beliefs, and it does have a cost. That does come with a cost. To be disliked by your own siblings again. So for you, I would say that's basically what this full moon is bringing you. So a lot of you might come to a crossroads of, do I keep expressing myself while upsetting those closest to me and possibly jeopardizing my income? Or do I keep trusting and keep having integrity and paying the cost for this integrity? And with Venus in the eighth house, for those of you that did lose a job because of your beliefs, there's gonna be money coming in. Like this could mean unemployment. This could also mean money coming in from a father figure. So the universe will have your back if you do decide to keep going forward with expressing yourself and being in your authenticity, Aquarius. So for Pisces, moving on. Pisces, this full moon is in your second house of income, self-worth, money, right across from the Libra sun in the eighth house of other people's money, taxes, the occult. So you could see how, if a lot of you have been fans of astrology, tarot, this full moon is bringing you the harvest of how all of these themes of occultism, other people's money, how have these themes brought value to you, to where you can take action. Mars and Scorpio here in the ninth house, how you can take action into eventually making your own money. So a lot of you have been depending on other people for probably your basic needs, and all of this support. And even if it was support that was given with complaints and backhanded compliments, try to look at the positivity of it, because it's added value. Like, even if somebody grunted when they gave you $5 or whatever, that still says that you matter. And I would much rather have you, Pisces, hang on to that you do matter, that you are worth investing in, so that you can use that as a like a jumping board off into making your own, adding value to yourself. Whether that's, and it's going to be both, adding value through affirmations and through money making. Like right now, Rahu in your first house right here with Saturn, it's almost like Saturn retrograde. The facades are falling with who you were, who you thought you were. You could have gotten so lost, Rahu being the headless demon in Vedic astrology. You could have gotten so lost that you feel like you don't know who you are anymore. And right now I see, with South Node being in your seventh house, how your partner can help you find yourself, how your partner can be that soundboard, right? When you're talking, and your partner can relay what you are talking and saying about yourself, so that you find yourself again. So there's a lot of propaganda out there in the world promoting being single, promoting, I don't know, making people believe that being single is the way to success. But for you, Pisces rising, I would say having your partner right now is what's going to help you. Having your partner is what brings you the success and the aid to find yourself. And I am not promoting codependency, but yeah, that is what we're here for. You know, we are a reflection. And if you are single, you can always find like-minded people who can, you know, what you see in others, the things you admire in others, that's what they say, the things you admire in others are things that you already possess within yourself. So if you don't have that person to tell you about yourself, you can use that. Well, why do I, you know, what about that person that I like do I actually already hold within myself? And I would just watch for overindulgence with Jupiter in the 5th house. But yeah, Pisces, that's what I have for you. I wish you luck. Thank you for watching. Have a happy full moon.